We are the Force. We are Florida.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Miami as we get you set for the last of a three-game set between the New York Mets and the Miami Marlins. A fun night at the ballpark for sure. Gotta get me one of those in the middle innings of this one. Oh, back on task here inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino and Todd Hollandsworth. I'm distracted by food. I'm also distracted by home runs. We had some of those last night. Despite the loss, it was nice to see Justin Bour get off the schneid.
Well, he continued to work up the middle, the other way in that Philly series, trying to get out of this early season slump. And boy, when you get the dividends, you put in the work, you put in the labor behind the scenes, you get this. Yeah, 94 miles an hour, tailing away. Look at the concentration, eyes down, even a little grunt from the big guy. Great swing of the bat. Well, you know what? We talk about it all the time. Confidence, feeling good about your swing. Gets a similar pitch, but guess what? 97 at the letters. Why not? Once again. 2 home runs last night, both to left field. First time in his career he's ever done that.
Absolutely, and it was nice to see not only the home runs, but the hits to the other side of the field, too. We saw that over the weekend in Philadelphia. On the mound tonight is Harlan Garcia, making his first big league start. This was always the plan, to get him on the mound to start a game.
Excited for Harlan Garcia. 68 appearances last year as a reliever. He's got great stuff, and he's shown that great stuff in a couple of extended appearances out of the bullpen. We kept saying to ourselves, how come he's not in the rotation yet? Well, guess what? He is there tonight, Marlins fans. If you like Harlan Garcia, he gets to start his first big league start tonight. Fastball, slider, change. He's got good numbers against the Mets.
Yeah, in the rotation for the first time, and on the flip side, back in the rotation as we take a look at the New York Mets. And this starting rotation, certainly a strength for this club. The only problem has always been health. Can guys be healthy? Well, for the first time ever, their Fab Five, the band is back together. Zach Wheeler goes tonight.
The 5 aces have been united. I say reunited. I mean, they all know each other very well, but they've never pitched together. And yeah, you know, it's going to happen tonight. We were wondering if it would get all the way here. I kind of held my breath. I wouldn't even say it on air. But Wheeler is going to make the start tonight, Mets fans. So here you go. Wheeler's got good stuff, but I believe he's auditioning for any other starts he might get. Again, he's in a little bit of a hot spot just because they've got a lot of guys throwing the ball well right now.
Tough one for the Marlins to drop last night, but they have bounced back before. They will look to do that tonight and try to get the last of this 3-game set. From the pen to the rotation. More on Harlan Garcia with Jeff Nelson on the other side of the break. get here? Let's go back out to center field. Craig and Nelly.
All right, I think he drove, actually, Paul, but thank you very much.
No Uber.
Oh, that's no. Hey, look, he got
Maybe
here
somebody drove him
on a long road. International free agent signing in 2010. Long time in the minor leagues, mostly as a starter. But last year, Nelly, as you recall, when they called him up in relief, you thought he was going to be sent down. He pitched so well, they couldn't send him down. Now he's starting tonight.
Yeah, and he was a situational pitcher. 53 1/3 innings last year in 68 ball games. He did have 89 starts and 111 minor league starts. But this is the difference. Okay, now you are used to, 10 to 15 pitches to get into a game as a reliever. Now what do? You just saw earlier him pacing up and down a little bit in the dugout. Hey, I want to get out there. It's time for me to go. That's the biggest transition is now I got to spread out my pitches. Now I have to get ready for 5 or 6 innings. You know, what do I do in the time? What do I do the night before? I come to the ballpark, and as a reliever, you could get in. You're nice and easy, go out and shag flies, but you start thinking about that start the night before. How does that transition to his first big league start? I'm excited to watch. He's got a big-time arm. He throws hard, got a nasty change, good breaking ball. He's got the pitches to be a starter. He showed it against the 6 innings against the Cubs, and then the 4 innings, 73 pitches against the Phillies.
All right, that start's going to be interesting to watch right off the bat for Harlan Garcia. Went 6 innings on March 30th in that long 17-inning game, and it was outstanding relief. Tonight, he gets to begin it for the Marlins against the Mets in Game 3 of the series next.
To hide by WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today and buy your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Well, once again, a beautiful night here at Marlins Park. Every home game except last night, the roof has been open. It's back open today. Windows are closed. We'll see how the wind maybe plays into all of that as Harlan Garcia gets set to face this New York Mets lineup, brought to you by Southwest. As Drupal Cabrera leads things off, he has been one of, if not the hottest New York Mets hitter, and he digs in for Harlan Garcia's first major league start. And his first pitch is chopped to Brian Anderson. Well, that was easy. 1 pitch, 1 out. So Harlan Garcia built up to about 90 pitches. It was always kind of the plan to get him in the rotation somehow, some way, and out of the pen so far this season, he's been stellar.
Great to see Harlan the Marlin get this opportunity tonight. Well deserved. He's been putting in the time, of course, last year in the bullpen most of the time. 73 pitches now. Last Thursday against the Philadelphia Phillies, went 6 innings against the Cubs. He's ready for this. He's earned it, and I know he's going to be on his game tonight. 92, 93 mile an hour fastball. You'll see that slider, and he's starting to get real good at this. He's changing kind of speeds with that slider and location as well, and a very good changeup.
92 right there for Wilmer Flores. Flores was 2 for 5 with a double and a home run in last night's Mets 8-6 victory here in the middle game of a 3-game series. And the 1-1 foul back, now 1-2.
Good numbers for Garcia in his career against the Mets. 5 career appearances coming into tonight, 4 scoreless innings without a hit. So good stuff there. Of course, that was in the bullpen last season.
Yeah, Don Mattingly said before the game, he's got the pitches, he's got the stuff, he's pitched well, and there's an open spot. So again, really the perfect storm to finally see this promising young lefty, 25 years old, out here on the big league bump to start a ball game, and he has started with a couple of ground ball outs.
Here's the Marlins starting defense for tonight's game, brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Dietrich, Brinson, Mabin, right field tonight. Anderson, Rojas, Castro, the big guy, bore over at first. JV, a couple of home runs last night. Chad Wallach gets the start behind the plate for Harlan Garcia. And here in the early going, I expect maybe Harlan has a little extra enthusiasm, excitement, maybe a few butterflies, I'll say. But I think at some point he'll say, I've done this now. I've been on this mound so many times, I'm right back into that groove.
Yeah, so many. A team high 68 appearances a year ago for Harlan Garcia. Certainly was effective in 2017. And now a ball and no strikes to Yoenis Cespedes. Cespedes sends one out toward left center field. Moving over a few steps is Derek Dietrich, who puts that one away. A 1-2-3 first inning for Harlan Garcia. We'll see Zach Wheeler pitch for the Mets when we come back. Garcia sets down the first 3 Mets. So now it's the Marlins' turn to get some runs on the board. They certainly did so last night. They scored 6 runs. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough as they dropped the middle game of this 3-game series last night. But back again in the leadoff spot is Derek Dietrich in the Marlins lineup, presented to you by Southwest. Zach Wheeler gets the start. His first major league start this season after starting the year at AAA Las Vegas, and his first pitch is outside.
Dietrich having a really nice series. 5 hits already, 5 for 8 in the National League with 16 hits. 2 for 4 last night, a couple of runs and a walk. Well, Marlins. Some of these Marlins familiar with Zach Wheeler as he made his way back from the disabled list last season. You see the 17 starts, 3-7. He in fact got shut down about halfway through the year, had a stress reaction in his arm. What Marlins saw him, they saw him early in the season. Put some space in between his last Mets start and tonight.
July 22nd against Oakland at Citi Field, the last time he was on a big league mound. And of course it has been a all these, the Fab Five, the band back together. I keep thinking of the Beatles, even though it was the Fab Four, but a long and winding road nonetheless for Zach Wheeler, as he was the 6th overall pick by the Giants in 2009. That was the same year that Steven Strasburg went #1 overall. Mike Trout went number 25. He was then traded to the Mets for Carlos Beltran right around the deadline in 2011. Payoff to Dietrich down the left field line, but that'll reach the seats. And of course, last year, dealing with the injuries, Tommy John a couple of years back. Here he is.
Zach Wheeler, 6'4", 495 pounds, 27 years old now. Yeah, there's your Auto Nation scouting report. Minor setback. Now, he did make one AAA start before tonight. A little slider there, 92 miles an hour. All right, one start, as I said, at AAA, 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, good stuff. All right, the 5 aces, Paul, that's what you're talking about, kind of getting back to that. Syndergaard, DeGrom, Matz, Harvey, and Wheeler. It just happened. He's on the bump tonight. So the 5 aces, that's what they were known as, are all together finally. Just not the same. The breakout season, it was a while ago, 2014, really great year. One Tommy John. He missed 3 years basically on the disabled list. I'm gonna give you the short version of this. He's been off and on the disabled list over the last 3.5 seasons, and that's really what's led to tonight. He's in an audition for me. That's the way I see it. Wheeler is in fact auditioning for his next opportunity because time has caught up with him now. He's 27. Lugo, Jason Vargas, who the Mets signed this offseason, 2-year deal, $16 million, is going to come back and pitch for these guys. So Wheeler doesn't have a spot in this rotation technically. He's going to have to be great tonight, I think, to earn another start in a Mets uniform this season, or potentially another injury. But it's got to be good. Last year's 5.21 ERA over 17 starts was not outstanding.
Rojas drills this one out to deep left field, and that one is gone. Miguel Rojas with a home run, and the Marlins have a 1-0 lead.
Say what, Miggy Rojas? Are you kidding me? That's some big-time pop right there. Wow. There's something to the windows being closed here at Marlins Park, but I am not. Listen, I'm saying right now, I've never seen Miggy Rojas hit a no-doubter. He just hit a no-doubter off the bat. Wow.
It's a new career high.
Yes, it is. Well, it kind of explains the I've never seen him hit a no-doubter. Yes, sirree. You better do forearm bashes in the dugout. My goodness.
Power threat, Miguel Rojas.
Juan Nieves over there giving him the same stare I'm giving him.
Love it. How about that?
We're seeing fastball center cut. My goodness. Coming unhinged.
And now Starlin Castro shoots one out to right field. Jay Bruce for out number 2.
Here's the Mets defense, brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Cespedes back in left field. Lagares gets to start once again in center. Jay Bruce back in right. Frazier, Rosario, Cabrera, Flores again over at first base. Plawecki is going to be doing a lot of catching behind home plate. Zach Wheeler.
Justin Bour takes a called strike. He got off the schneid, got his first 2 home runs of 2018 in last night's ball game, and both at the time gave the Marlins the lead. Inside, a ball and a strike.
Well, we might as well get to this right now, since we saw Miguel Rojas turn it around. That 4-seam fastball is really where Zach Wheeler's game has changed the most since his return from all the injuries. It was interesting. I went back and looked at some numbers. He had that incredible 2014 season. His best pitch was that 4-seam fastball. In fact, hitters hit in the low 200s against it that year. 239, 144 swing and misses. Last year, 2017, of course, he's finally back, makes 17 starts for the Mets. That number went way up. Hitters hit 298 against the four-seam fastball. That's what Miggy Rojas took out of the yard.
And a walk to Justin Bohr. 1 on and 2 out. I've got the StatCast numbers here on Miguel Rojas. You want to play a guessing game on exit velocity, distance?
Exit velocity. I'm going to go. This may be a career high exit velocity for Miguel Rojas. I'm going to go 102.
Okay.
Oh, wow. 106. How
431 though.
431. He doesn't. Wait. He's got that in the tank. Come on, Miggy Rojas. What? All right. Listen, we've raised the bar. That's all I'm going to say. Career high 2 home runs and still an 8.
Well, he's been so consistent too. That's what's a little upsetting. It just totally messes up the picket fence that he had going. 1 home run in 2014, 1 in 15, 1 in 16, 1 in 17, and now 2. A crooked number. Good for Miguel Rojas. And now Brian Anderson fouls one off. Well, if not Rojas being so hot, this guy might be the hottest guy in the Miami Marlins lineup right now. He leads all major league rookies in hits with 13, RBIs with 9, walks, on-base percentage. He's tied for first in runs scored, second in average, and 4th in slugging. Brian Anderson off to a great start in the first couple of weeks, but he chops this one to Asdrubal Cabrera, and that will do it for the Marlins in the first. But they connect on one, a big one. Miguel Rojas with a solo home run, a no-doubter to left. Marlins up 1-0 after 1. Good to see the Garcia family here, and of course family means so much to Harlan Garcia, so it's nice that they are on hand for this, his first big league start. Upstairs, Todd Frazier, after him Jay Bruce and Kevin Plawecki. Of course, Harlan Garcia didn't start playing baseball till he was about 15 years old, but when he was 16 years old, his 3-year-old sister actually drowned in the family pool in the Dominican Republic. He said he felt like his family, which of course is here tonight, lost its happiness that day. And he said he still gets emotional when he speaks about his sister. I just said from that day on I would give them a reason to live and something to look forward to, and you know that they are looking forward to this start tonight. Of course, making it to the big leagues for Harlan Garcia is special for any player. We understand that. But in terms of starting this game, he said, I'm really grateful to God and the Marlins organization for giving me this opportunity. He's been working on this dream for a long time, and now it's a reality. And he said of his sister, "I always have her on my mind. She's my motivation and the reason I keep working hard every day to move forward." And an excellent piece today in the Miami Herald, by the way, by Andre Fernandez, with some of those quotes. Just fantastic stuff to kind of let you in behind the curtain a little bit about what this start means to the youngster Garcia. Chopper to Brian Anderson. Long throw, high throw, and Frazier's in there safely.
Brian Anderson picks on the big hop. You saw it right there as he reads the hop out in front of home plate, gets the big hop, realizes he's going to lose a couple of steps as Frazier's busting it down the line. So this throw, there's really no momentum. One step and release, and a high throw is going to allow Frazier safety at first base. Justin Bohr high, trying to bring that back down.
An E5 for Anderson allows Frazier to reach, and now Jay Bruce.
I've had the privilege of being around Harlan Garcia now for a year plus, and there isn't a day that doesn't go by and you root for this young man, whether he was in the bullpen, whether he gets the start tonight. I'm really just speaking to Harlan Garcia, the human being. He lights up a room every time he walks in. A big smile. I've never seen him honestly angry under any circumstances. He's truly been a joy to be around. I think back to last year and the fire that he was literally thrown into. The Marlins bullpen was going through some transitions, some injuries. He was thrown in there as the lone lefty as a rookie. And you know, Don Mattingly had to use him in a variety of roles, and he answered the call every time.
Bohr steps on the bag, and now Frazier caught in a rundown. Running back to first.
Oh yes,
tagged out.
Beautifully done.
Castro 2 away.
Perfectly executed rundown. Well done, Marlins defense. Justin Bohr at the center of it.
You got that as a 3-6-4?
So, good to see. All right, so you've got JB steps on the bag, and here's what you want to see. Good read of Todd Frazier. He winds up. Frazier was trying to bait the throw. Did a great job, and here's what you want, youngsters at home. You want Todd Frazier running back to first base. That's where you want the rundown to end. If there's anything that breaks down there, it happens at first base, not second. One more look at it. JB does a great job of getting Frazier into it. He wants to give the ball up to Rojas because you've got Frazier now going back to first base, and then you close the gap. Well done.
No balls and a strike to Kevin Plawecki, who has started all 3 games in this series for the New York Mets, and might start a few more going forward as the Mets made a roster move today. Travis d'Arnaud placed on the 10-day disabled list. They recalled catcher Tomas Nido from AA. d'Arnaud underwent an MRI and a clinical exam today, and he's been diagnosed with a partial tear of the UCL in his right elbow. And they added that the treatment of this injury, including a possible surgery, is going to be determined in the next several days. But, you know, you look at a guy like Travis d'Arnaud, and the issue with him has always been staying healthy. And we were talking about this before. It's like it's never just something small. It always seems to be something big and serious, and he misses big chunks of time.
Right. Now, I had a funny feeling something was up. I had heard something about, you know, platooning and, you know, the rolls behind the plate, cutting to the, getting to the short of it. Travis d'Arnaud loves hitting in Marlins Park. He hits .329 here in his career. He's got tremendous numbers, and I kept thinking, how is he not in the starting lineup? First game, second game, third game. Well, here's your answer.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Plawecki. Left side, foul. Just wide of the third base bag. You go back to last night, I don't know, 5-6 innings, the Mets have been peppering that area over there.
There's been some action. Brian Anderson certainly on his toes right now. That's usually how it goes. You go through cycles, get into a groove, you start to get the ball on the ground, and you want to continue to keep the ball on the ground. I was just actually looking at that right now. Harlan Garcia doing a fantastic job. Only 1 ball in the air. We're through 5 outs.
That'll reach the seats. Count still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, an excellent first inning for Harlan Garcia. 1-2-3 set down the Mets on 8 pitches. And then an E5, Todd Frazier reached, but quickly the Marlins turn a double play to get out of it. And now he's trying to put the finishing touches on Kevin Plawecki here in the second. Did he go? He did not, says first base umpire Ryan Blackney. The rest of the umpires tonight: Jim Wolf at second, DJ Rayburn at third, and the crew chief Sam Holbrook behind home plate. How about that one? That time he went around. First strikeout tonight. Family's all over it. 2 good innings for Harlan Garcia. 1-0. South Florida Ford on Sunday, April 15th. Get access to sensory-friendly quiet rooms and seating, in addition to participating in a pregame ceremony. A portion of the proceeds from each ticket benefit nonprofits in the autism community. For more information, visit marlins.com/themes. Cameron Maben, Lewis Brinson, and Chad Wallach against Zach Wheeler here in the second. Maben back out in right field tonight. Got the beginning portion of last night's game off. Before going into the ball game as a pinch hitter late, takes low and in the dirt. 1-1.
Zach Wheeler, as I said, 2-seam fastball, 4-seam fastball. I told you a lot about that. Also has the good slider and curveball. The changeup is still more of a work in progress. Comes to his secondary stuff, he's catching the upper deck. Prefers the slider and the curveball.
That one's in the dirt, and it's 2-2. Again, we were just talking about the injury to Travis d'Arnaud, and of course the UCL. Always you think Tommy John, and of course that's one of the injuries that Zach Wheeler has dealt with throughout his career. And his road back was a lengthy one for sure. He gets his second strikeout tonight. Maben down, 1 out here in the second. So, you know, after the Tommy John, which of course is no easy road back, you know, you mentioned he started last year and he got through middle part of July, and then he was done. He underwent a series of injections to get his pitching arm back in shape after the stress reaction. Brinson shows bunt, but Tips it into the glove of Plawecki, 0-1. It's been a rough run here for Lewis Brinson. 0 for his last 22.
Brinson working tirelessly to get his groove back, to get the swing back in order. He was working on staying through the middle in batting practice today.
Back to Wheeler. 2 outs. That will bring up Chad Wallach, tonight's starter for the Marlins behind home plate with 2 outs in the second.
Hey Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by T-Mobile. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
Wallach getting his first start in this series and first time he's ever faced the New York Mets. 0-1. That's strike 2 off the outside edge.
Chad's done a very nice job behind home plate. Time. Wind is swirling. You see Wheeler's uniform. It's blowing in the wind. Also some dust. I think that's probably what happened with Chad. Some in his eyes.
Line drive into right field and a base hit for Wallach. Nice job there. It'll get Garcia to the plate here in the second.
We had an old saying back in the day. It was take 2 and go to right. Well, it's a pretty good example. Elevated 4-seam fastball at the belt. Great swing from Wallach. Very nice batting practice today as well. Spraying balls from line to line. First fastball he swung at a little high in the zone. More to his liking. Real good swing.
Garcia takes a big hack.
Harlan's looking for his first big league hit. I think he's going to have to start a little early.
One for 18 in the minor leagues. Now he squares to bunt and taps it foul. 0-2. Freddie's like, hey,
Let everybody at home interpret that any way you like.
it's 2 outs. What's the use?
Harlan's not used to it. Can't you tell? There you go.
2 strikeouts in the inning for Wheeler. Marlins up 1-0 as we go to the top of the third here at Marlins Park. a big story right here out in Colorado. Whoa, right behind Nolan Arenado, and look out, Luis Perdomo.
What?
Yep,
That's
right
a
there.
big story. Whoa, that's a big story, too.
Ducks. Unbelievable. This is a bench clearer right here.
Yeah, that's old school. Don't see too much of this any longer. I believe this goes back a couple days. Margot, young star center fielder for the San Diego Padres, was hit, ends up on the disabled list. Of course, there was some, we're going to hit your guy, you hit my guy. Well, listen, Arenado not happy about it one bit. Well, from our vantage point, entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't think anybody got hurt, right? In that, not that I've heard.
Yeah, it was just...
That's the only time it's funny, when nobody gets hurt.
It's spicy for this time of year. I mean, we're only in early April. That's usually, players usually save that stuff for like June and July when the temperature goes up.
That's
it gets
right.
real hot out.
Yeah. Teams have lost 8-9 straight games. Everybody's frustrated. Not the case. First pitch of the inning to Ahmed Rosario's in there for a called strike. Bottom third of the order for the New York Mets. Juan Lagares and Zach Wheeler to follow. It's nice to see guys play with passion every once in a while.
Is that what that was?
That's passion. That's my definition of playing with passion.
I thought it was anger.
It could have been anger, could have been passion, excitement, enthusiasm. Get your thesaurus, whatever it is. Pick a big word.
Nice couple of ball games for Rosario. 3 for 8 in the series. 2 doubles and RBI. In the 9 spot. First 2 games tonight. Moved up to the 7 spot.
Couple of hops to Rojas. 1 away. So why did the Mets do that? Why do they have a guy, him, behind the pitcher first 2 nights, and then now he's up to 7?
Well, it's a good question, but I think, really it comes down to Rosario. And you also have to recognize the way that this works is when you've got a player like Rosario, young player, establishing himself, good athlete, good speed, right? He fits the bill as maybe a leadoff hitter, a prototypical leadoff hitter. Of course, the Mets they're wired differently. Their lineup construction is a little bit different. You've got Michael Conforto at the top, and he's done a little bit more of it, and that's where you choose to go. You can stick him in the 9 spot, make your way around, you set. Now remember this, Cespedes is hitting 3rd tonight. He was hitting 2nd the last couple of nights. Rosario is essentially playing the leadoff role, feeding into Conforto and Cespedes. Simple stuff. The idea is that you get a second leadoff hitter, so to speak. Because I don't really look at Conforto and actually think he's a leadoff hitter. He's more of a number 3 hitter,
right?
Who hits leadoff.
Exactly, not in a traditional sense.
Right. So, and I like the idea that you're really trying to set your best hitters, which is what Callaway's doing. In that he's got Cespedes in the top spot and one of your best left-handed hitters, and obviously Conforto, young player as well, in the top spot.
Ball and 2 strikes to Juan Lagares. It's Justin Bohr picking that one out of the dirt. 2 outs. So yeah, you get a guy with pop like a Conforto, the most at bats you could possibly get because he's in the leadoff spot. But then as the game begins to unfold, the 3rd, the 4th, the 7th, the 9th, whatever it is, hopefully you got a couple of guys on base.
Well, you also protect Rosario a bit. It's also the development of the younger player, and I like him in the 9 spot because it gives him an opportunity to develop. Remember, as I mentioned in the pregame show, when you've got a young player like that, say you park him right in front of the pitcher's spot. I'm not sure there's a tougher spot in the lineup for a young player to play. I was down there a few times in my struggles early on in my career, and well, sometimes you get in that box, you're like, is he actually going to pitch to me now, or is he, just trying to avoid me because the pitcher's right behind me? And so you have to deal with guys who only want to live on the edges and outside. They're not like, okay, 2-0 pitch, he's got somebody behind him, let's challenge him maybe a little bit more. So at times it can be hard for a young player.
0-2 to Zach Wheeler. That one is low, a ball and 2 strikes.
I continue to rave about Miguel Rojas. In fact, was one of the best hitters in all of baseball. In fact, last year, he hit 292 in the 8 spot in the lineup, and I thought, man, oh man, I hope everybody realizes not only how difficult that was, but he did it all season long.
A called strike 3, second strikeout of the night. He's faced the minimum through 3. Family enjoys it. 1-0 Marlins. Third inning. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth back with you here at Marlins Park. A 1-0 lead. Miguel Rojas, solo home run. He'll bat second in this inning, followed by Starlin Castro, but it's Derek Dietrich to lead things off.
A strikeout victim his first time up.
A couple of hits in last night's game for him. 5 multi-hit games this season. That's tied for 5th in the National League. Everybody's looking up at Eric Hosmer, who had another couple of hits today in that game where we saw out there in Colorado where the bench is cleared. It'll be fun to see what the punishments are. Not just for the 2 main parties involved with Luis Perdomo and Nolan Arenado, but I thought I saw somebody throw a glove at Arenado too.
Yeah, there's a few gloves thrown in that one.
So that'll be fun to unpeel that one. I'm sure the league office will have just a dandy of a time doing that in the coming days. Dietrich held up 2-2.
Nice job. It's a good breaking ball from Wheeler. Out over home plate, the go zone, as I like to say, for a hitter. We react very much out what we see, especially out over the plate. Nice job laying off the breaking ball.
Dietrich is a guy who has certainly come into his own as of late. Don Mattingly said yesterday that he's got a great swing, and now he's playing every day. He's shown that he deserves to do that. But he strikes out for out number 1 here in the 3rd. 4th strikeout for Wheeler.
Some pretty good sequencing from Wheeler. You mentioned the breaking ball down, the fastball down, then climb back up to the top of the zone. Strikeout.
Bring up Miguel Rojas. Homered on Sunday against Jake Arrieta, and homered in the 1st inning of this one off of Zach Wheeler. Those 2 home runs, a new single season career high. Let's go back to the 1st.
Looking fastball early, gets it, center cut, thigh high. 431 feet. I'll say it once again, no doubter. Yeah.
106 miles an hour off the bat, and over the scoreboard out there in left field. One and two.
Back-to-back sliders from Wheeler. I showed you the highlight. Wheeler's not interested in throwing the 4-seam fastball anywhere near the plate right now after what happened in the 1st inning.
Grounded to Cabrera. 2 away. Now I might be grasping at straws here, so I'm sure I'll hear about it on Twitter for being far too positive, this, that, or whatever. But here's the thing. We came into this year, we knew that Miguel Rojas was going to be one of the leaders on this young team, right? Well, he's got 2 home runs this season. He's not a power threat at all, right, in a general sense. The home run he hit was off Jake Arrieta after a 20-1 loss, 1st inning. Last night, arguably, if you ask around the clubhouse, a more painful loss than that 20-1 defeat because they had to lead late. They couldn't wrap it up. He comes out here today. He's out in batting practice. He's looking around at the scoreboard, and, you know, the ballpark, as they say, is still waking up at the time. So last night's score was up on the board, and he's asking very politely, might I add, can we get last night's score off the scoreboard? Of course, they did. And then tonight, again, off that rough loss, 1st inning, home run. Jump on his back. He's that kind of guy.
Team leader.
Called strike 3, 2nd strikeout of the inning, and 5th of the night. But thanks to Rojas, Marlins up 1-0.
fastball helping lead the way. But take notice of that changeup. It's been an outstanding pitch. So if you're watching at home, obviously the slider's going to have a little more horizontal movement in the strike zone. But the changeup really sits around 86, 87 miles an hour. It's been a developing pitch for him over the last year or so, and it has become a weapon. He's used it very effectively in tonight's ball game. Talking about the first time through the lineup, 7 groundouts.
Top of the order due up here for the Mets in the top of the 4th inning as Drupal Cabrera, Wilmer Flores, and Yoenis Cespedes.
Oh, excuse me, 6 groundouts, but still, point made.
Absolutely.
A very nice job of keeping the ball in the lower third of the strike zone.
Dribbler out in front of home. Wallet calls off Garcia, and there is one away.
Again, the changeup.
Let's go downstairs and check in with Craig Minervini.
Thank you, Paul. We got some news today on the pitchers in terms of when they will start throwing. And it's good news. Wei-Yin Chen will throw 3 innings tomorrow in extended spring training. That is, Don Mattingly said, it's been a real pleasant surprise. He's way ahead of, I think, the schedule they at least thought he was going to be on. So his return is closer than you would have thought. And Dan Straley will pitch 4 innings in Single A at Jupiter. They're actually playing in Daytona Beach against the Tortugas on Friday. So he'll throw 4 innings there. Also at extended spring today, Martin Prado played 4 innings at third base. And JT Realmuto, DH, went 1 for 5 in extended spring. So those numbers are good. Now, if Straley only needs a couple of starts, and again, they're going 4 innings, he's been worked up, the arm's pretty good, he feels great. You know, maybe you guys will see him at the end of that road trip, which would be that Dodger series perhaps. But again, everything depends on how you feel, and the Marlins certainly aren't putting any dates out yet because it's going to be start, see how you feel, throw in between, see how you feel. But if everything goes well, maybe by the end of the month you start seeing some of these guys back.
Yeah, Craig, thanks so much. That would be fantastic. Again, Straley was so close toward the end of spring training to getting that second start of the season, in the second game of the season rather, and then he had a little bit of a setback at the elbow. Again, it wasn't anything serious, so slowed it down a little bit. But again, to see him progressing now to a rehab start, one would think that he's pretty close. Brian Anderson, as Bohr keeps a toe on the bag, 2 away.
Nice job by Justin Bohr at first base. Brian Anderson, more action down the line, does everything right. Again, that throw looks like it's sailing. He may be having some trouble with his grip. Looks like he's squaring the shoulders pretty well. Ball is just running on him a little bit. Well done. Now, Dan Straley will certainly be a welcome addition to this rotation. He will be the most experienced starter the Marlins have once he is back. And on top of it, I mean, I can't help. I mean, of course, Dan Straley's been very, very good over the last couple of seasons. But, you know, watching this bullpen operate for the Marlins, you're thinking, oh, we got a starter finally that's, you know, predictably going to give you maybe 5-6 innings consistently. Help out some of the arms in the bullpen.
Yeah, entering tonight, the bullpen, and 10 of those innings belong to Garcia, by the way. A major league high 58 2/3 innings.
That's a huge number.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you mix in a 17-inning game in there. I think they played, what, 3 extra inning games in total, but also a couple of rough starts here and there. And yeah, I mean, now is when the time, you know, guys are up to a general sense 100 pitches. Like, they're good to go. By this point in the season, they're stretched out, so they should be going the 6, the 7. Love to see a guy go 8.
Dan Straley certainly capable of doing that. As I said, will be a welcome addition to the rotation for that predictability.
3 balls and a strike to Yoenis Cespedes, who flew out back in the 1st inning. And he is going to do the same thing here in the 4th. A fly out to Brinson in center. Another 1-2-3 inning for Harlan Garcia. 1-0 Marlins. By Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By the Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains, trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, in pursuit of your cure. Another beautiful night, 75 degrees at first pitch, the roof open again. Justin Bohr going toward left field again, but Yoenis Cespedes is there. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 4th inning. Brian Anderson and Cameron Maben to follow. Marlins up 1-0. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth with you. Wheeler gets the start tonight for the New York Mets. Back in the rotation for him. Harlan Garcia for the Marlins. But if we look ahead to Friday, when the Marlins, after the day off tomorrow, they'll welcome in the Pittsburgh Pirates to town. Marlins Live comes your way at 6:30 Eastern Time. Sit down with Don Mattingly and maybe try to figure out how to slow down the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are off to a great start in 2018.
Clint Hurdle has that group playing very good baseball, and I think to some extent surprising on the national.
Todd Frazier, he's 3 for 3. He's had 1 nice play in each of these 3 games. That one, a tough little hop, but he stays with it. A couple of bare hand plays in the previous 2 nights.
Well, you can watch Todd Frazier showing off the short hop, kind of playing into the short hop. Wanted no part of the big hop. That would have meant he would have come forward. We've watched him come forward. He backed up to that short hop. Must have taken a little bit of a bad hop, but that dart across the diamond certainly made the play look easy.
And now it's Cameron Maben. First pitch swinging down the right side and into the seats. 0-1. Maben struck out in the second, one of 5 strikeout victims tonight for Zach Wheeler.
Probably shouldn't be surprised. 4 career starts coming in at Marlins Park. 1.35 ERA. He's pitched very well against the Marlins. I thought there was some, maybe some strategy here by the Mets, getting Wheeler this opportunity back at the big league level to make the start. And of course here in Miami, where he's pitched well in his career.
Right field, Jay Bruce, a can of corn. A 1-2-3 4th. Marlins still up 1-0. Go to the top of the 5th inning. The man behind the camera, holding that camera, Jay, right there with the glass. There you go, right there. Moving out to L.A. Didn't want to work with me anymore. Said it's been 11 games, I'm out. No, kidding. Jay moving out to Los Angeles, so we want to wish him nothing but the best. He's done a great job on our, what we like to call an RF camera. And we, Todd and I learned the other day, radio frequency, wireless. So congratulations to Jay on a new opportunity. Best of luck, and stay in touch. This is some of Jay's work right here. Look at that. So often you see that camera guy fall over. Not Jay. Great balance. That's why we'll miss him. Ball and a strike to Todd Frazier. Frazier, Jay Bruce, and Kevin Plawecki here in the 5th inning. Frazier reached on a Brian Anderson error, but was erased on a double play back in inning number 2. And at this point, the only base runner that Harlan Garcia has allowed into the 5th. Out to center field, Lewis Brinson. 1 away. Geico presents This Day in History. Yeah. Roy Oswalt pitching, and the Marlins just going nuts with the home runs. Hanley Ramirez, Jeremy Hermida, Mike Jacobs, Jorge Cantu, Mike Novello, all going deep. A club record 6 home runs. Those are them solo shots, it looks like. My math is usually not that good, but 6 home runs, 10 runs scored. I mean, but they'll take it. They'll take it. Ball flying out of Minute Maid that night. Mike Jacobs, the manager at AA Batavia right now, still in the organization. Misspoke. I think that's a low A Batavia, but either way, still part of the organization.
Garcia continues to impress. Working on the low zone with the fastball against Jay Bruce, pitching very carefully. We've seen the changeup. It's been a great pitch for him tonight. 8 ground outs in this game. Through 4 1/3.
Well, he still has a ways to go here. He's still got to get, what, 4 outs to reach his longest, 5 outs to reach his longest outing of the season. And you're sitting at home and you're saying, well, wait, this is his first start. How is that possible? Strike to Jay Bruce. It was in that 17-inning game, in the 2nd game of the season, that Harlan Garcia worked 6 innings. 6 innings, 1 hit. He didn't allow, I believe it wasn't even a base runner through the first 5 innings. Allows a base runner here on the walk to Jay Bruce. But you pair that outing with another outing of 4 innings pitched out of the pen, 10 superb relief innings. And here he is, Harlan Garcia, with his first major league start. As Kevin Plawecki digs in, 1 on, 1 out in the top of the 5th. Blocked there by Wallach, no advance. And again, it was always the plan at some point to get him into the rotation. He knew it. Obviously, the team knew it, but Garcia knew it. He said in the spring that he trained all offseason to get physically and mentally ready for this battle to be a starter. And now it's all about having a positive mindset, go out there, battle every day.
He's gotten himself into a very nice rhythm tonight. I saw 1 pitch in the first inning that I thought might have been, you know, butterflies or nerves, if you will. It was an elevated changeup. It was off the plate. Since the first, and it was a quick first inning. He's been dialed in, particularly the low zone. Has not elevated too many times in the strike zone. Again, is playing off his changeup very, very well tonight. Lucky a strikeout victim his first time.
And of those first inning jitters, if they were there, we have no idea. We can ask them tonight, tomorrow, whatever the case is, if they were there. But if they were, I don't think anybody would be surprised. You know, I mean, obviously he's pitched in the major leagues before, quite a bit. Again, 68 appearances last year. He's done this. He's been on this mound before.
He is just missing, but it was causing problems. Again, a 5-pitch walk to Jay Bruce. He's falling behind Plawecki now, 3-0. He is going to have to find his way back into the strike zone. And very efficient, as you see. Nothing to worry about. 59 pitches right now in the 5th. Mets do not run very much. You get only 3 stolen bases on the season by all of them. They are a slugging offense. Get guys on. Get doubles and homers.
Off the edge, a 4-pitch walk to Plawecki. But you just figure again, he's been on the mound before, right? So it's that part, there's nothing new. But you know, the drive to the ballpark, knowing that at 7:10 you're throwing the pitch, you've got all day to prepare, all night the night before, you got to get to sleep. You know, going through a bit of a different routine at this level, something, as we noted before, he has worked for his entire life. So you've got to figure, to try to get inside that guy's head, you know, where are you at? And again, not to say that he had jitters, I'm just saying today was different than any other day he's ever had.
Well, only the first inning, but I would have been anything I would have been concerned with. Everything else is normal. In fact, as you mentioned, we know he went 6 innings just the other day. He's pitched in and out of jams. He's pitched in every type of situation other than the first inning. And that's just it. That's the only difference. So once he was past it, it is business as usual for Harlan Garcia. Merely pitch execution. So far, so good. Now he's got to get back into the strike zone with a dangerous Rosario.
Fouls the first pitch back. Rosario grounded out to shortstop back in the 3rd.
Well, that's a classic young guy swing right there. That very well may help Garcia. I'm thinking, you think this through. 9 pitches, 8 balls to the previous 2 hitters. Rosario attacks the first pitch at the bottom of the zone.
Runners go. Wallach to 3rd. The tag is in time.
Now the Marlins catchers have done a fantastic job this season controlling the running game. Now 7 for 14 the group. It's 50%. That's 4th best in the big leagues. Great throw by Chad. Rosario did Chad a huge favor as the catcher has to take that step back in order to throw to 3rd base. Rosario's momentum carried him forward. Conveniently got out of the way for Wallach.
And a big out for Garcia. Now 0-2 to Rosario on a hop to Rojas. Inning over. Works into and out of a jam in the 5th. Still hasn't allowed a hit. in this one. It is time now for our Toyota Inside Look. 22 teams that have started a season 9-1 in the divisional era. And 12 have made the playoffs. 4 have won the World Series. The 81 Dodgers, 84 Tigers, 90 Reds, and 92 Blue Jays.
Wow.
This year, you've got the Mets and the Red Sox.
That's surprising to me. Only 12 teams made the playoffs of the 22.
Yeah.
That kind of disqualifies the 91 start, doesn't it?
Well, all you got to do is go 1-9.
Give me more.
500 team, you know.
Give me more. Interesting. I would have expected that number to be more like 16 or 17.
Well, yeah, we talked about it last night. It's a long
Well, it certainly
year.
is. Certainly is. This Mets team did just that. Got off to a hot start a couple seasons ago. Well, it turned out well for them.
Speaking of long season, there's going to be some ups and there's going to be some downs. And right now is just one of those downs for Lewis Brinson. He tapped back to the mound back in the second inning. So he's 0 for his last 23. But last night after the game, apparently before reporters even were allowed into the clubhouse, he was gone. Not home, not frustrated, not talking to the media. He was in the cage. He was working with Mike Pagliarulo for an hour or more, trying to figure something out.
Gotta grind it out. That's where he's at right now. It's not an easy process. There's
Tags.
the story last night. I did something like this myself. Got off to a opening day, great start of the season. Proceeded to go over, felt like 0 for 20 or something like that. Or got my act together.
One away here in the 5th. 6th strikeout for Zach Wheeler. Let's go downstairs to Craig Minervini.
And guys, one of the things Don Mattingly said is that, yes, work like that with Pagliarulo, work your way out of it. And he said they're not planning any changes unless they see the loss of confidence. And if it got to that point then where they're noticing a lack of confidence, which obviously can happen, then you might see something. But right now they're going to try and work them through it because, as you said, Todd, the major leagues is a major adjustment for anybody. And sometimes these kind of droughts show up bigger early in the year than they would middle of the year.
Well, that's the key word. It's a good point, Craig. Confidence. We talked about it a little bit. And certainly when you go through this, you start to lose your confidence. You feel like, well, sometimes maybe I'll never get another hit. He will. He's going to break out of it. And it's going to be the first ringing hit that he gets, that line drive, wherever it is. It'll lock him back. He'll get that feeling back. We talked about it last night with Justin Bour, another classic example. I mean, this isn't just for rookies. This is for anybody at the major league level. You go through slow starts. And you have that moment where it just makes sense. You start to catch up with velocity again. Your swing is right. And then you do it again like Justin Bour did last night. That's how hitters operate. They show up every day trying to renew that confidence. Now, when you're rolling 2 hits, 3 hits a game, boy, it's fun, man. You can't get to the field soon enough. You're ready to keep going. When you're struggling, it's a process. You got to work through it, T-work. You try not to micromanage every at-bat, and it's ultimately what you a lot of times end up doing.
2-2 to Chad Wallach. Rolls one out to shortstop Rosario. Over to first. There are 2 away.
All right, well, here we've seen Zach Wheeler dominating tonight other than the home run. He's made some mechanical adjustments going back to last season, really tried to shorten up his motion and tighten things up, and I think that was really in part because of the fastball command. I talked about it. His four-seam fastball had been a good pitch early in his career. So what did he do? You watch the right arm. It wraps around his body in the old uniform. You see it on the left, and that's what he's trying to shorten up. So it's not that he's getting that arm so far behind himself, it's more straight back. And that's allowing him to shorten his motion towards home. So he's not wrapping, so to speak, any longer. Pretty good results tonight.
To Frazier. Garcia retired. A 1-2-3 5th inning for Zach Wheeler. We'll watch Garcia work when the 6th comes around. course, finish up this one against the Mets. Then the Pirates are in town for 3, and then it's off to New York. To the Bronx we go. A short 2-game series. Note the start times. Coverage starts at 6 both nights. 6:35 first pitch. We'll see Rookie of the Year, Aaron Judge. I think we all recognize that guy. Giancarlo Stanton. See him as well. So it'll be fun to be in the Big Apple for a couple of days before leaving New York and then heading off to Milwaukee for 4, LA for 3. First lengthy road trip of the 2018 season. Marlon Garcia has been superb to this point as we go to the top of the 6th inning. 5 innings, hasn't allowed a hit, a couple of walks, and 2 strikeouts.
You ready? You ready for that long, lengthy road trip?
I think so. I'm going to have to
get your mind right.
Yeah, well,
it's a long time.
Yeah, no,
you know how to pack for 10 days?
No, that's why we need to spend some time. You need to tell me, like, is this like a laundry thing, or am I, you know, taking 10 pairs of underwear? Like, how does this whole thing work?
Find a dry cleaner.
All right, a local one or the hotel?
Well,
because the hotel, they really run up the prices.
It's true.
$40 or something to dry clean a shirt. I mean, that's insane.
Be in Milwaukee for a few days and see if we can't get something figured out.
All right. Just checking.
Yeah, if I, you know, you're still a new guy around here. I wouldn't be bringing 3 bags on the trip. That might get everybody's attention. That's right. I know. The new guy with the 3 bags.
Yeah, I'm just bringing a toiletry bag. That's all I'm bringing on the plane.
One bag's got all your shoes.
That's right. Yeah. One of those bags does not contain hair products, though. That much we know. We will not have an issue there at all. But no, that'll be fun. It'll be fun. Three teams certainly with high hopes in 2018 as this tough month of April continues for the Marlins. As Juan Lagares lines one out to right field. Cameron Maben, a sliding catch, one away.
Great read by Maben off the bat. It's all about the first step, and he was on it. That's what you get when you put a center fielder in right field. This isn't good justice. So when you pick him up, he's already moving. That was instantaneous. Great read, great break. It's a nice job of playing that off to the side. It's really what you want to do on those line drives. It gives you a chance to get down. You catch that coming straight in with 2 hands. It's very, very difficult.
That is the catch of the day, brought to you by Bonefish Grill. First out here in the 6th inning, and now it's Zach Wheeler. Oh, and 2. Wheeler struck out looking back in the 3rd. One of 2 strikeouts tonight for Harlan Garcia. He is pitched to contact. Next pitch will be his 70th. And a called strike 3.
Backup slider underneath the hands of Wheeler. Did not feel the need to defend that part of the strike zone. Wasn't his best slider. It was up a little bit, but pitcher hitting, and he hit like a pitcher.
Top of the order for the Mets with 2 outs here in the 6th, as it says Drupal Cabrera, 7th career multi-home run game last night. Also homered from both sides of the plate for the 2nd time in his career. Off to a great start for the Mets this season. Currently hitting .326. .72 pitches, 40 strikes for Harlan Garcia. 3 strikeouts, 2 of which Zach Wheeler. So again, allowing his defense to work. Reducing some ground balls, trying to stay low in the zone. That one a bit too low, and it's 3-0. A very efficient night. Three and 1. Cabrera has hit in 9 straight games. If you go back to the 2nd game of the season, entering play today. That 9-game hit streak tied for the 3rd longest active streak in the majors, and it's now 3-2.
That's so interesting to me, the ability to keep the Mets hitters off balance tonight. And that's in part because of the great changeup he has. He's using 91, 92, and mixing it with the changeup. But we've seen it. Cespedes out on his front foot a couple of times. Cabrera comes in as hot as anybody in this Mets lineup, and he has been off balance as well. He was on balance last night. So far tonight, not the story.
Pops this one up. Wallach gives it a look, but it'll reach the seat. Still 3-2. Don Mattingly said yesterday, really just depends what kind of game Garcia has in terms of how deep into a ball game he can go. Built up to 90. He's at 76. The next one, if my math is right, is 77. Here it is. And this one popped up left side, will stay in play, and this by a long shot, by the way. That's Rojas to put that one away for the 3rd out of the 6th inning. That's 6 innings without allowing a hit for Harlan Garcia. Nice job, young man. How do you feel? As Derek Dietrich swings over the top of that one, 0-1. And you can kind of see right there, Don Mattingly said, I don't want you to push it. So Tim Wallach in there, the bench coach. Juan Nieves waiting to talk with the pitcher as well, as Dietrich taps that one foul. So again, we figured he would get up to somewhere in the 90-ish pitch range. He's at 77. Starlin Castro gives him a hug. Juan Nieves, congratulations. So it looks as though that's going to be it after 6 innings of no-hit baseball for Harlan Garcia.
And what more can he do?
What more could he do? You're right. I mean,
that's a perfect 6 innings right there. I mean, I suppose you could eliminate the walks. I mean, if we're going to be that critical. 77 pitches, 6 innings against this Mets offense. Ooh-wee.
A swing and a miss. Dietrich is retired, so second rider up. All right, so again, me, the broadcaster who's around this team every day, I know the answer to this. But for those at home saying he's been amazing, it's 77 pitches. Why is he being taken out of this game?
You got to protect him from himself. I mean, believe me, I, as much as anybody, want to see him keep going. That doesn't mean it's the right decision. That's just our hearts kind of speaking to the moment and the excitement that we're all experiencing watching Harlan Garcia pitch tonight. No hitter through 6 innings. Well, here's the situation. You know, this is his first time starting. I'm going to talk about emotion here. We're just merely talking about pitch count. Remember this, it's a 1-0 ball game. There's been some stress in here, just in that it's a very close ball game. Point being, you're not managing the 6 innings any longer, you're managing the next 3 innings. What if he goes out there in the following inning, maybe walks a couple hitters like he did a couple innings ago, and that pitch count gets up into the 95-ish range, and he still gets out of it without giving up a hit? You're still making the same argument once again an inning later, now at 95. So do it now. Set yourself up for what you know is going to come next in the next 3 innings by bringing in your horses out of the bullpen. It's the logical thing to do. It's the right thing to do. It's, emotionally, there's probably a different answer there. But that's what I'm for. I'm allowed to be emotional. I don't have to make the tough decisions.
Miguel Rojas out towards center field. Lagares is back, and there are 2 away. Join us April 13th when Miami takes on Pittsburgh for fireworks at the park. Catch all the action at 7:10 and then enjoy a post-game fireworks display with the Miami skyline as a scenic backdrop. Purchase your tickets for fireworks at the park at marlins.com. And Pirates in town for 3, an off day tomorrow for the Marlins, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with the Buccos in town. Not to get lost in what we've seen through 6 innings. We've got 1 run. Rojas, a long home run in the first inning. There's been really no offense to speak of. And that will continue. Chow right there as Castro flies out to Bruce. A 1-2-3 inning for Zach Wheeler. Can the bullpen continue what Garcia's done? Back in a moment. Yet again, no humidity and no hits allowed for Harlan Garcia, but his night is done after 6 as the Marlins go to the pen. Customize your perfect mix of games with the all-new 10-game flex pack. Lock in seats for a Yankees game, then choose from the hottest matchups, including the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Nationals, and more. Enjoy value and flexibility to catch all of the action at the ballpark. Customize your matchups at marlins.com/flexpack. So Drew Steckenrider comes in for the 7th time this season. He has been superb to this point. 7 strikeouts compared to just 1 walk, and opponents are hitting 158 off of him. So, however this plays out in a historical sense, Don Mattingly and Juan Nieves will answer the questions about if this finishes a certain way. And there's one more out in the bucket. A nice play by Miguel Rojas at shortstop.
Fantastic anticipation. 1-0 pitch goes to Flores. Watch the quick step. Boom. 2 steps and a dive. Scream at the end of that. I like it. Certainly was again right spot. Gonna pick that off the grass.
Yeah, they'll answer the questions, and it's about having a plan. And certainly the arms that they figure to go to are the ones that they trust to finish this one off. But as you said, sure, no hits in the hit column, but they're also protecting a 1-run lead. And this Marlins team would love to bounce back with a victory off of last night's game, one that they had late before giving up 2 runs in the 8th, 2 runs in the 9th, and losing 8-6.
Well, Mets lineup certainly has been aggressive tonight. Watched him swinging the bats. Mentioned getaway day here. That's off day tomorrow. Marlins have the day off as well.
Steckenrider worked in last night's game, struck out 3 Mets in his inning of work.
Steckenrider does have him set up for the changeup. See if he chooses to go to the changeup with a slider. He did it a couple of times. There was. Cespedes did not chase. As we talked about, Cespedes struggling a little bit, catching up with the fastball. Of course, had the big hit in last night's ball game. Does not take away the struggles. Came into tonight's ball game 4 for 31, 17 strikeouts. Of course, you've got 0 for 2 tonight.
High fly ball. Castro underneath this one. A long route to get to that one. Man, that was hit a mile. 2 outs.
Bring up Todd Frazier. Todd is 0 for 2 tonight, which in the 2nd by Anderson. He was quickly erased by a very nice double play.
Oh, and 1. And 0 and 2. How did he get out of the way of that?
He wasn't trying to get out of the way of that. That's really the true answer.
Like it went through him somehow.
It was a breaking ball. Again, it was backing up out of the hand of Steckenrider. I think Todd Frazier picked up on that. It was okay if there was contact.
1 and 2. Taps that one foul to stay alive. So the line complete, of course, on Harlan Garcia. 6 innings. Didn't give up a hit. No runs, of course. A couple of walks and 3 strikeouts to just keep his line moving on the 2018 season. He'd worked out of the bullpen 10 innings before this, his first major league start. And he gives way to Drew Steckenrider, who allows the first hit of the night. Todd Frazier with a base hit to left center field.
Well, a clean single. Split the outfielders. No chance for Dietrich. Brinson. 2 strikes, fastball elevated above the belt. Todd, good extension. Covers the outside corner very well. Gonna drive it into center field for that elusive first Mets hit. And now the business at hand. Outs and protecting the lead. 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Todd Frazier at first base, and Jay Bruce, very capable, hitting the long ball.
Yeah, 146 games between the Mets and the Indians last year for Jay Bruce. He hit .254, 29 doubles, a career high 36 home runs, and 101 RBIs. 29 of those 36 home runs with the Mets. And that led the Mets last season despite playing in only 103 games for him. Down the left field line and into the seats, 1-1. So again, I'm sure that there will be questions about why Garcia came out of the game. 77 pitches, 44 strikes. He hadn't allowed a hit. We'll hear from Don Mattingly after the game on Marlins Live post-game show. Of course, it's a long-term plan here.
Well, I think what we can all agree on is this: whether we decide to be logical or emotional in this situation, he wasn't going to go an additional 3 innings and be, even if they were no-hit innings, be at a reasonable number. It's just not possible. He was already at what, 79? Is that what we had him?
77.
77?
Yeah.
All right, 77 pitches at that time. So, I mean, even if you're talking 10-pitch innings, you're still well over 100 at 110, and that's with no wiggle room. So that's not happening. Let's just be, logical with it. Don Mattingly said, okay, this is the right time to do this.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to look much further than right across the diamond. I mean, listen, again, it's one example, but the New York Mets went forever in their franchise history without a no-hitter before finally Johan Santana threw one. Yeah, he threw 134 pitches that night, and you could make the case that he was never the same pitcher after that. But a debate, a chat for another day. Steckenrider does protect the lead, the most important thing. Garcia's happy about it. 1-0 Marlins through 6.5. Marlon Garcia in his first big league start was on point. Sure, the no hits through 6 innings, but in a more general sense, Todd, how did he look to you?
Oh, fantastic. Again, I talked about it. Listen, we'll start with the slider. It was a good pitch for him tonight. He used it effectively, but I really want to talk about the combination between the changeup and the fastball. He had this hot Mets team off balance all night long. First time through the lineup, 6 ground outs, a few pop-ups, but only a couple of hard hit balls. Just great stuff. Change speeds through strikes.
And perhaps lost in some of this is how good Zach Wheeler has looked, by the way, as he is into the 7th inning now, facing Justin Bour, who takes a look at ball 2. Bour, Anderson, and Maben due up for the Marlins this inning. 6 innings, 2 hits, a run on the home run to Miguel Rojas, a walk, and 7 strikeouts, which matches last year's season high. Let's take a look at the Toyota trend. Multi-home run games among left-handed hitters. Justin Bour Halfway to Cliff Floyd. Cornelius Flood, as he's known in certain circles. Chopper to second. Moore retired. Do you know the story behind that, by the way? The Cornelius Flood? So Cornelius is his real name. His real first name, like the full name. And when he was drafted, it was like back in the day when, you know, it wasn't broadcast or anything.
No, we received like telephone calls. He and I
right.
were in the, well, right around the same draft. I don't know if we were in the exact same 91, 92 draft.
So there's camera footage of it, and the good folks over at MLB Network have found it. They have dug it up. And
had to be on a camcorder.
Had to be, yeah, it might have been, yeah. And so the person, forgive me for not knowing his name, that announces it, he says, with the whatever pick in the draft, Cornelius Flood. F-L-O-Y-D, Flood. Flood doesn't have a Y in it, Todd.
Hey, it's okay. Mistakes happen.
That's right.
Good chuckle out of it. Like I said, it was on a camcorder, for crying out loud. This is the only way it could have worked.
Tehran Guerrero has a Y in it, though. And he's loosing for the Marlins. Off the end of the bat, hooked around towards shortstop on the run. Nice play there by Ahmed Rosario to retire Brian Anderson for the second out in the seventh.
Wheeler has been outstanding as well. Nice play by Rosario. He's got this one surrounded. He's going to cut this off before the edge of the grass. Throws on the run with a strong throw that is on the money. Flores doesn't have to move far. Anderson hustling all the way. Second out in the seventh. A lot of good defense in tonight's ball game from both teams, both the Marlins and the Mets.
Might see some more here. Another backhand, another off-balance throw, and a pick at first base by Flores. Maven with the speed down the line, but not fast enough. Nice play there by Rosario. However, Zach Wheeler has stopped, and he may head right back to the dugout. Don Mattingly says, yeah, we're not going to challenge that one. So it's 6-3 ground out. We're through 7. Right there, moving out to Ellen.
Crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. Took everything, put it on the line, 'cause I never break or back down.
What a ball game tonight at Marlins Park. Mets and Marlins in the last of 3, and you can make a case they have saved the best for last. At least the pitchers did. Harlan Garcia 6 hitless innings before departing. Zach Wheeler, his first big league start since last July. 7 innings and 7 strikeouts. So welcome back to the rotation. As a couple of changes here for defensive reasons. as Miguel Rojas moves over to first base. And the first pitch from Tyron Guerrero got Kevin Plawecki on the hand, I believe.
Now, this is not good news for the Mets. We reported the news on d'Arnaud earlier today. d'Arnaud is going to probably miss some significant time. Went on the disabled list. Now this up and in on Plawecki. Look, you've seen fastball elevated. All right, the top of the bottom hand on the bat. Follow that. Top of the bottom hand. Starts those hands forward. I have found through my own experiences that the top of the hand is better than the side of the hand. Bad things happen on the side, it seems. Our hands, for some reason, take a little bit more on top.
That last pitch, by the way, was at 98 miles an hour flush.
Yeah.
And good to see Plawecki's going to stay in this ball game. Certainly from a Mets perspective, with that news that Todd just mentioned about Travis d'Arnaud and the UCL. So at least for now, he is going to stay in the ball game.
A tying run at first base here in the 8th in the form of Plawecki. There's first pitch, a wild one. Settle in.
So Brady begins to loosen down in the bullpen for the Marlins. Yadiel Rivera, by the way, takes over at short with Rojas moving over to first. First pitch to Rosario, fouled straight back, 0-1. Rosario is 0 for 2. He grounded out in the 3rd and grounded into a fielder's choice to end the 5th. Numbers on Guerrero in a spot to hold this ball game right now. A 1-0 Marlins lead. The only offense in this one. A solo home run from Miguel Rojas back in the 1st inning off of Zach Wheeler. That's been it. Just the 1 hit for the New York Mets. Todd Frazier base hit in the 7th. 2 hits for the Marlins. The home run from Rojas and the base hit by Chad Wallach. That has been it. Story pitching tonight at Marlins Park.
Sir, look a little off. That is the slider at 85 miles an hour. Outstanding pitch. Rosario has been aggressive tonight, really wanting to swing the bat. Anticipating high velocity. He gets 85. Some tilt for out number 1.
Michael Conforto will pinch hit for Juan Lagares, and he is not going to face Guerrero, as it looked like Don Mattingly was anticipating the move to Conforto, so he has the lefty O'Grady ready. This Florida Lottery call to the bullpen brings in O'Grady here in the 8th. 1-0 Marlins on top. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by the Florida Lottery. It's good to have options. That's why the Florida Lottery has over 70 unique scratch-off games. So add a little play to your day with these new games. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. Fourth pitcher of the night for the Marlins and second pitcher of this inning as it's Chris O'Grady to face Michael Conforto, the pinch hitter. The numbers on O'Grady, you got to like the opponent batting average at 105.
Good stuff. Lefty's 0 for 6.
One just misses to Conforto.
Fastball for the cutter, the change as well. He does not throw hard, but effective. Spots the fastball.
Noted the 105 average overall. Hitters are 2 for 19 against him this year, O'Grady. But lefties are 0 for 6. Tying run over there at first is Kevin Plawecki, who has stayed in the ball game after getting hit by a pitch on the hand as Paul Sewald is up. So it looks like Zach Wheeler's day is going to be done after 7 strong innings, 7 strikeouts. Adrian Gonzalez out in the on-deck circle for the Mets as Conforto rips one down the right field line. Fair ball into the corner. Dug out there by Maben. And Plawecki is going to get held up over at third.
Job by Maben cutting this ball off, getting to it and getting it back in. See Conforto with the swing. Cutter able to keep it fair down the right field line. It's going to one hop the wall and come to a stop. Maben gets over quick. Watch Plawecki around third base. He's watching it. That's on purpose, folks. That's to slow his momentum down. Get back into third base as he was stopped. Big moment here in the 8th inning. Hitter Adrian Gonzalez take the at-bat.
Fouls the first pitch off. The game started by Harlan Garcia, who was dominant. 6 innings, no hits, was lifted after 74 pitches, but it was a career high in pitches, and he tied a career high in innings pitched. And that's why Don Mattingly decided to go to the bullpen. .77 pitches, by the way, for Harlan Garcia. The numbers in the late goings of a ball game for Adrian Gonzalez. A seasoned veteran up in a big spot here for the Mets. And a base hit up the middle. That will score Plawecki. Around from second comes Conforto. The throw is late and a 2 RBI single for Adrian Gonzalez. The Mets have taken a 2-1 lead here in the 8th.
Well, Adrian Gonzalez throughout his a stellar career, it certainly has been that. He has been the man for quite some time here in a pinch hitting role, a little bit of a different role with the Mets. Being tasked with the biggest moment in this game comes through. Solid single to center. Same spot of the Conforto double, stays back through the box. Clean hole up the middle. Going to score 2 for the Mets. They take the lead. Couple of weapons on the bench tonight for Mickey Callaway. Conforto, Adrian Gonzalez, pretty nice weapons to have.
First overall pick in Adrian Gonzalez as he comes through here in the 8th inning, as once again the New York Mets come back and erase a deficit. It's just a 1-run game, and the Marlins still have potentially 2 cracks at the Mets, but entering play, the Mets under Mickey Callaway have 5 come from behind wins this year, tied for the most in the majors with Boston and Milwaukee. One of the reasons why this team is 9-1 coming into play tonight.
They battle back, sometimes saving their best at bats for late in the game. One area the Marlins are looking to improve. Typically, a lot of their offense is early on. Well, they're going to need some offense tonight, late.
A strike to Cabrera, 3-1. Cabrera out towards center. In comes Brinson. Going back is Castro, in and out of his glove. Kind of into no man's land there in right center field.
Yeah, the Bermuda Triangle. Starlin heading out. See where he starts. Nice drop step. Puts himself in position to have a chance at this. Of course, Brinson and Maven nowhere near as this falls in, as I said, that Bermuda Triangle. It's Starlin, Castro, or bust.
Oh, he didn't even get a glove on it. My mistake.
Unable to come up with the catch. That would have been a tough one.
So clearly a hit for Asdrubal Cabrera. Gonzalez goes to second base, and Don Mattingly goes back to the bullpen. Junichi Tazawa will come in, be the 3rd pitcher of this 8th inning. Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Mets with a 2-1 lead.
Watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
A double switch for the Marlins as Braxton Lee goes into right field. He replaces Cameron Maven. And the new pitcher is Junichi Tazawa. Again, the 3rd of this inning for the Marlins. 6th time that we have seen Tazawa this year. He's been effective. 1.29 ERA and an opponent batting average south of 100. Needs to keep it where it's at right now. Adrian Gonzalez on at second base. A 2 RBI double for him. And then right after that is Asdrubal Cabrera with a base hit. This is Wilmer Flores. Breaking ball misses just upstairs. A ball to no strikes to Flores, who is 0 for 3 tonight. His last at bat lined out in the 7th inning. A diving catch at shortstop by Miguel Rojas.
Tazawa has been outstanding here in the early going. 9 strikeouts, 6 appearances.
And and rips this one out to left field. Dietrich is back, and it's over his head. It'll one-hop the wall, and Gonzalez will score on the double. Cabrera's just taking some extra steps, but he'll have to hold up at third. 3-1 Mets.
Yeah, we've watched Wilmer Flores heat up in this series. Came in with 1 hit, although he wasn't playing every day. He's been hitting the ball hard last time, lined out. This time, low fastball down the middle. Drives it over Dietrich's head and left. One hop into the Clevelander.
And Cespedes is going to get the free pass here to load the bases and create a force anywhere for Todd Frazier.
Things unraveling a bit for the Marlins. There's a no-hitter alert. 2/3 of the way through this ball game. The Mets now on top, 3-1. Bases loaded here in the 8th.
The inning started with Theron Guerrero on the hill. He hit Kevin Plawecki on the hand. He then struck out Ahmed Rosario. Chris O'Grady came in, gave up a double to Conforto, a base hit, drove in 2 by Gonzalez, and the single to Cabrera. Tazawa came in, an RBI double a moment ago, and then the intentional walk. And now here's Todd Frazier taking low and away. 1-0.
You have to be careful with Todd Frazier. He gets great extension, and at times he kind of drifts forward a little bit in his swing, so he can get a split finger fastball. That's a circle in it, but that's what he can get to that. Tazawa must be careful here in this situation. Trying to give the Marlins an opportunity to battle back from a reasonable score.
It was Frazier who registered the first hit of the night for the New York Mets. That came off of Drew Steckenrider after 6 hitless innings for Harlan Garcia. But as we noted, for Garcia, for as good as he was, the 77 pitches, a new career high. The 6 innings tied a career high. The call for Don Mattingly, Juan Nieves, pretty simple in their eyes. 1-2.
Nice breaking ball from Tazawa. We've seen it a few different times. That had late drop on it. Sometimes he'll roll that breaking ball up there slow, 72 miles an hour. Added a little bit to that. Very good pitch.
Frazier pops this one up left side. Giving it a look is Wallach, but that one into the seats. Still 1-2. Gazelman, another one of those Mets pitchers who could easily be in the rotation. Right now it's a bit of an embarrassment of riches for this club, but it has not always been that way. With Wheeler starting tonight, the first time that homegrown quintet, it's 5, right? Quintet 5 has gone in the same order. 1-2 to Frazier. A foul ball down the left field line. Last night, tonight it's like there's a target down there. The Mets are just peppering the left side.
Split finger fastball stayed up. Todd Frazier misses a double by inches, well, maybe a foot. And be careful with the split finger fastball. As I said, Todd Frazier, the way his swing works, he covers that outside corner really, really well. I love the fastball where he stayed in on his hands. He at times kind of drifts out, and he has good extension. He can get there. Got to be careful with the splitting. To the breaking ball.
Tyler Cloyd, added to the roster about a week ago, still hasn't pitched in a game here in 2018. get a chance at some point tonight. Marlins hope it is not in the 8th inning. Ground ball might get him 2, might get him out of this inning. The 2-2 pitch. He is out towards center field. We might see Brinson's arm. Makes the catch. Here comes the throw. And it gets away from Wallach. Run scores and both runners will advance. 4-1 Mets.
A fly ball to get the job done off the bat of Todd Frazier. Brinson, strong throw into home. Bang bang play, does a good job keeping momentum. Chad Wallach does the sweep, tries to do the sweep tag. Not sure if that was going to short hop. Here's a better look. Yeah, that ball is a little bit in between. He's trying to do the catch and tag. It's off the top of his glove.
Well, Bruce gets the intentional walk. And once again, that will load the bases for the New York Mets. And it would have been Kevin Plawecki. Again, don't want to speculate as to what might be the issue. I mean, we know what the issue might be. We just don't know if that's why he's not hitting. He was hit on the hand to start this inning. And now it's Tomas Nido, who was added to the roster today in place of Travis d'Arnaud, who, after going some tests, found a tear in the ulnar collateral ligament. So d'Arnaud on the DL, Nido called up. And now I'm sure the Mets will keep a close eye on the condition of Plawecki going forward, but right now it's their new addition to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 8th inning. First pitch swinging up the middle. Castro there to step on the bag. And the inning is over. But the Mets score 4 runs. Their first 4 of the night. They take a 4-1 lead. Against the Mets, they'll enjoy an off day tomorrow, and then the Pirates come to town starting on Friday night. Chad Kuhl for the Buccos, and Dylan Peters gets the start for the Marlins in the opener of a 3-game series, which will wrap up the homestand. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth back with you here for the bottom of the 8th inning. A big 8th inning for the New York Mets as they now lead this one 4-1. Michael Conforto takes over in center field. He pinch hit earlier for Juan Lagares. And Tomas Nido will take over behind the plate. He pinch hit for Kevin Plawecki.
Robert Gesellman on the mound. This is one of the converted starters. See the outstanding numbers this season. 6 innings, 9 strikeouts, 1.50 ERA. Gesellman, fastball, slider, curveball, change. Made 22 starts last year for the Mets. The Marlins are familiar with him. Of course, that transition a lot of times we see from the starting position to the bullpen, you'll see an uptick in velocity, and Gesellman has displayed that, averaging 94, 95 on the fastball.
Here we've talked an awful lot about Harlan Garcia and how he looked so great in this, his major league, first major league start. But on the other side, for Zach Wheeler, again, his line now complete after 7 innings and 7 strikeouts. How'd he look to you?
He was outstanding. I mean, other than the home run to Rojas, I mean, you saw the mix of pitches, and you know, we talked about the new mechanics that he was implementing in tonight's ball game. Of course, he had some good career numbers here, but I guess I think back to key number 3 for me in the Auto Nation scouting report. Audition. Foul ball. The bat of Brinson battling with 2 strikes. And what I meant by that was, you know, listen, the Mets are rolling right now. They may need him at some point, but I really think after his spring training, in which he did not perform very well, and I'm obviously talking about Wheeler, you know, they sent him down. Gesellman's a great example of this, as is Lugo. Both probably had more of a right to that start tonight than Wheeler did. So it was in his best interest. You see that boring 2-seam fastball on the hands of Brinson. Strikeout number 1 here in the 8th. More of a, had probably more of a right to the start tonight. Wheeler was the answer because Gesellman and Lugo have been so good at this Mets bullpen. Callaway didn't want to change that. He wanted to keep them in their roles. They've really excelled down there. So Wheeler gets the start. It was an opportunity. I said it was an audition for another opportunity, and I think he earned it.
He only gave up a couple of hits. Again, the hit to the home run, rather, to Rojas, and the hit to Chad Wallach, who's down to the count 0-1 to Robert Gesellman. Stay tuned later for our Marlins Live post-game show presented by WB Mason. Yes, we will hear from Don Mattingly. Again, the questions will be there, no doubt about it. 77 pitches tonight for Harlan Garcia. Didn't give up a hit through 6 innings. We had heard that he had been stretched out to about 90, but Don Mattingly didn't want to push it tonight. 77 pitches, a career high for Garcia. The 6 innings, tying a career high, but doesn't mean he won't be asked the questions. So stay tuned for that after the game.
Well, those questions would have been asked in the 6th, or the question he probably would ask himself. You apply it to the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th. Of course, the 6th was complete. If you understand what I'm saying, is that the 77 pitches obviously has no hitter attack. Harlan is in the process of being stretched out. Let's remember what we know over the last couple of weeks. I remember conversations early on. Ooh. Nasty 2-seam fastball once again. This is part of why Gesellman is staying put in the bullpen. Typically a ground ball machine, 50.4% ground ball rate. We've seen the strikeout rate go up so far tonight. But again, dealing with the possible pitch count going up, I mean, you start to think about the situations, times through the lineup, what the Mets have done. I just really believe you ask yourself the question in that spot, the following inning and the one after that, it was the right decision at that time. Let's say he goes an additional 2 innings and an additional 30 pitches. He's well over 107. Now he's really dug the hole, hasn't he? I mean, think about this. If you got the no-hitter, he had to labor a little bit. Harlan's now gone 8 scoreless, 8 hitless innings, and he's at 107 pitches. You're like, oh, now I'm going to tell him he can't go back out there?
Right. Well, again, we'll get inside Don Mattingly's head after the ball game tonight. Marlins Live post-game show. A called strike to Braxton Lee. His first at-bat, part of a double switch earlier in the ball game. A couple of strikeouts for Robert Gazelman. He got Brinson, and he got Wallach for the 2 outs here in the 8th. Lee spins out of the way of that one, and it's 2-2. Lee's a guy who's been getting, he's gotten a couple of starts in the last few days. Skipper wants to get him out there to give, whether it's Brinson or Maben or whoever, a day off. Get him a few more at bats so he could be more effective off the bench. But strikes out right there. 3 strikeouts for Gazelman in the 8th. 4-1. Go to the top of the 9th inning. The 6th pitcher of the night in, and some other defensive changes for the Marlins as Miguel Rojas goes back to shortstop. Leaving shortstop and going out to right field is Yadiel Rivera. And replacing Rojas at first is Tomas Tellez.
There's the versatility that many of these Marlins possess, the ability to move around the diamond. Bring all your gloves to the dugout. Mound is Tyler Floyd making his Marlins debut.
Signed by the Marlins as a minor league free agent in January and was called up from New Orleans on Sunday.
These are his career numbers. Fastball cutter change. Cutter's a good pitch for him.
Ahmed Rosario to lead things off. Michael Conforto after that. And if I peek into the dugout, it looks like it might be Jose Reyes coming up third, but we'll see how it all shakes out. Right now it's Rosario, who is 0 for 3 in tonight's ball game. Toward right center field, this is Rivera to make the catch. One away.
Had it with room to spare. They almost overran it a little bit as that ball faded back. Nicely done.
Floyd started his career with Philadelphia, made his big league debut in August of 2012 against the New York Mets, who he makes his Marlins debut against tonight. And a strike to Michael Conforto. Conforto, a big part of that rally in the 8th inning for the Mets, as he had a double against Chris O'Grady.
Conforto got things going. The lefty-lefty matchup. There's the strategy moment in this game as Conforto came out, automatically going to the bullpen. Brings in Chris O'Grady, who had not surrendered a hit to a left-handed batter all season. Able to double into the right field corner, and the Mets were off and running.
Came around to score on the 2 RBI base hit from Adrian Gonzalez. That at the time gave the Mets a 2-1 lead. They tacked on 2 more in that 4-run 8th. and a miss, strike 3, 2 outs here in the ninth.
Great start for Boyd. 2 down. Ninth inning, picks up a big strikeout of Fordo as curveball finds the bottom of the zone. Fordo willing to expand. Here's former Marlin Jose Reyes.
Takes a called strike. Reyes still looking for his first hit of the 2018 season. And he might still be looking for it after this. Rivera for out number 3. Work to do for the Marlins, trailing by 3 going to the bottom of the ninth. Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Kubota. For more information or to find a Kubota dealer near you, go to gokubota.com and by your South Florida Honda dealers. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, 4-1 Mets on top. As it's going to be the top of the order for the Miami Marlins with a little bit of work to do, and they've got the right guy trying to start it. If you go back to July 26th of last year, Derek Dietrich hitting .289 with 10 home runs and 35 RBIs.
He's been a beast since that period of time.
He apparently figured something out.
Well, he was off to a slow start. I know he was working hard. I talked to Derek about it a few different times last year as he was kind of processing out his swing. He was given obviously an awful lot of playing time. Martin Prado went down, and it took him a little while to kind of warm up. But once he got hot, he stayed hot the rest of the season, literally carrying it into 2018. On the mound for the Mets, Jerry Blevins. You see 6 games, 1-0. Unscored upon in 2 innings of work. So do the math. 6 games, 2 innings. Usually does not go very long. He's only in to face the lefties. I'm guessing he will see Dietrich, and that will be the end of it. Fastball and slider, very effective over the last couple of seasons. 70+ appearances. And there's our old friend AJ Ramos. Closer number 2. I would have been surprised if you would have seen Familia tonight. The last couple of ball games.
Dietrich lines it right to Flores. Time for tonight's Coors Light refreshing finish. And it was Miguel Rojas at the start of this ball game to get it going for the Marlins with a home run in the first inning off of Zach Wheeler. Unfortunately, though, for Miami, that has been all of the offense that they have registered. Just one other hit tonight as they trail this one 4-1 into the bottom of the ninth. And Rojas is not going to face Blevins, but rather someone else. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen here at Marlins Park. Back in a moment. Change as A.J. Ramos comes in. 5 scoreless innings in 6 outings this year. And of course, to the depth of that Mets bullpen, which has been so good in the early goings of the 2018 season. They've gone to Jerry's Familia quite a bit as of late. Probably not available tonight. So you go to a guy who's closed a heck of a lot of games in his career. In A.J. Ramos, he saved a lot of those games while pitching here. 92 saves in 325 games with the Marlins from 2012 to 2017. More of a setup role in front of Familia, but tonight trying to finish things off inside to Rojas.
A.J. features 4 pitches. Fastball, the curveball, slider, and change. He will use all 4 if necessary. The hitter's off balance.
And a Rojas home run in the first inning. Since then, just 1 other hit for the Marlins tonight. Zach Wheeler was really dominant. 7 innings, 7 strikeouts in his first big league start since last July. As Rojas works the walk. After Wheeler, Gazelman came in, struck out the side in the 8th. Blevins started the 9th inning, got Dietrich to line out, and then in comes Ramos, who just walked Rojas, and that'll bring up Starlin Castro.
Marlins need base runners in the 9th. Tying run is in the on deck circle.
And keep in mind, it is not Justin Bour, by the way. He was replaced for defensive purposes earlier in this ball game as Rojas went from short to first. So it's Yadiel Rivera on deck. It's away from Nido, but not far enough for Rojas to advance. Castro tonight 0 for 3, struck out in the 3rd inning. Was the 5th of the 7 strikeouts for Wheeler tonight.
Starlin Castro 0 for tonight. 16-game hitting streak at Marlins Park on the line. He's currently tied with Christian Yelich for the longest ever at Marlins Park.
That one misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two and two with Rojas off of first. That one into the Marlins dugout. Look out.
Nice job, Starlin Castro, protecting 78-mile-an-hour curveball. As I said, AJ, and Marlins fans, you know this. AJ, he'll mix it up on you. 92, 93 on the fastball. You'll see the curve, the slider, the change. When you're thinking fast, you'll get the slider. When you're thinking slider, you'll get the fastball. That's how he operates. A little unorthodox for a closer. Now the 8th inning man.
High chopper, and Frazier gets to it. They get one. The return throw to first is in time. And a double play turn by the New York Mets as they just keep rolling. However, definitely out at second. See if
the relay throw is enough. It appears hard to tell from that angle. The Marlins are not going to question.
Well, the New York Mets are really hot out of the gate. They are now 10-1 on the young season as they come from behind yet again. Their 6th come from behind win in those 10 victories. 4-1 the final score. They sweep the Marlins in this 3-game set. Marlins Live, the post-game show coming up with Greg and Nelly after the break.